Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel, and today the topic which we are going to discuss is the topic rocks. Okay, and whenever we say the term rocks, the first thing which comes to our mind is the term lithosphere, isn't it? If you remember the three realms of the earth: atmosphere, hydrosphere and the lithosphere. Okay, so lithosphere means the sphere of the rocks, okay, or the zone of the rocks. So if you see the cross section of the earth also over here, you can see the crust, mantle and the core, all everything, it is made up of rocks. Okay, so the thing is that up to the 16 kilometer of depth we find the rocks, but it is in the solid state. Beneath this also we find the rocks, but it is present in a molten form. Okay, except the inner core of the earth, which is present in a solid state because of the extreme overlying pressure, which we have learned in the previous chapter, isn't it? Now the crust is 95% is made up of rocks. Okay, so what the rocks is made up of, that's the question. Now rocks is made up of minerals. When two or more than two minerals, when they combine together, it will lead to the formation of the rocks. Okay, so the rocks is formed from the minerals. Then how or the minerals are formed? The minerals are formed due to the combination of elements of silicon, oxygen, iron. When they combine together, it will lead to the formation of minerals. Okay, so we can say that the earth is made up of rocks, rocks is made up of minerals, and the minerals is made up of elements. Okay, now minerals, so far 2000 different types of minerals has been discovered. Okay, but out of this 2000 minerals, 12 minerals are rock forming minerals. Okay, means these are the common minerals which are found almost in every rocks. Okay, but out of this 12 also, again 18 are the most common type, and which is also found abundantly in all varieties of rocks. So they are the iron, oxygen, aluminium, silicon, magnesium, nickel, sulfur and the calcium. So together, okay, combination of all those minerals together, it's 99% of the mass of the earth. Okay, so this 2000 minerals which has been discovered so far, so that 2000 minerals is further categorized into the four different types of, the rock forming mineral groups. They are the silicates, carbonates, sulfides and the metal. Now silicates include the minerals like quartz, feldspar and magnesium, and carbonates include your calcite. Okay, and sulfides include your sulfur compounds of metals and all. Okay, whereas the metals include like the minerals like iron, aluminium, etc. Okay, now rocks. So looking at all those kinds of things, okay, now we can simply in a very simple terms, if we have to define the rocks, then we can say it as the aggregate of the minerals. Okay, now let us move on to the classification of rocks. Okay, now the rocks has been classified into three main important categories. They are the igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Okay, so first is igneous rocks. Now igneous has been derived from the Latin word ignis, which means fire. Okay, now when the molten material which is present inside the earth's surface, okay, inside the earth, it comes on the surface with the through the cracks or fisheries or through the volcanic eruptions, and comes in contact with the outside atmosphere, cools down and forms a solid rock. Now that rock is known as igneous rocks, which has been formed from the solidification or the cooling of molten material, that is called igneous rocks. Okay, so since it has been formed from the molten material of fire, so it is known as igneous. Now the thing is that igneous is also referred as the primary rocks or the parent rocks. Okay, because this is the first formed rock on the earth's surface. First rock which forms on the earth's surface is the igneous variant, so that's why it is also called parent or primary rocks. Igneous is also further classified on the different basis of chemical composition, okay, and on the basis of location. So on the basis of chemical composition, it is of two types: mafic igneous rocks and felsic igneous rock. Now in mafic igneous rocks, more amount of minerals like iron and magnesium is present, and in felsic igneous rocks, more amount of feldspar is present. Okay, mainly contain feldspar. Okay, and in the feldspar, mostly the silicates of aluminium with the sodium and calcium or potassium is found in the felsic rock. Okay, so based on the chemical composition is two, mafic and felsic. Now on the basis of location, if you say, then it is of two types: extrusive, which is formed in the surface after the eruption when it reaches the earth's surface, is extrusive igneous rock, and which forms inside the earth's surface is the intrusive igneous rocks. Okay, now intrusive igneous rocks is also further classified into two different types: the plutonic and hypabyssal. Now if the igneous rocks are forming at a greater depth, okay, then it is known as plutonic igneous rocks. And in case if it is forming between the between the plutonic rock and the earth's surface, then it is known as hypabyssal rocks. Okay, now in order to understand this different types of igneous rock, okay, we have to understand through the different types of the hypabyssal rocks. We have to understand it through the figure. Okay, so here, so now the igneous rocks, as I said, the when the let's say this is our earth's surface, and through the cracks, okay, or through the fissures and all, the magma which is present inside the earth's surface or inside the earth, the magma or the lava, it comes on the earth, it comes on the surface, isn't it, and it solidifies on the earth's surface. So when it solidifies outside the earth's surface, it is your extrusive igneous rock. Okay, but when it solidifies inside the earth's surface, then we call it as intrusive igneous rocks. Okay, now when it forms in the intrusive also, when it forms at the greater depth in the magma chamber, around the magma chambers, then we call it as plutonic rock. Okay, and when it forms in between the earth's surface and the plutonic rock, we call it as hypabyssal rocks. We call it as hypabyssal rocks. Okay, in between the plutonic and the earth's surface, we call it hypabyssal. Now hypabyssal is also further classified on the basis of shape. Okay, now the depth also, we can say. Now the plutonic, very near to the plutonic, okay, the dome shape of a structure when the solidification takes place, and the dome shape of structure if it is formed, okay, then this type of rock is known as batholith rock. It is called batholith rock when it is formed very near to the plutonic rocks, and it is a dome shape of structure, and it is like hundreds of kilometers in length. It could be very wide. Okay, now the thing is that if the similar kind of smaller dome shaped structures are formed, in between the surface of the earth, then this is known as stock. Okay, so this will be much more smaller compared to the batholith, but it is also of the similar, the characteristics will be similar, but we can say this is stock is the smaller batholith. Okay, now when the eruptions or the cracks and all are there, so but the thing is that it won't be able to reach the earth's surface and solidify inside the earth's surface. It takes a shape of a mushroom structure like this. Then this is termed as laccolith. Okay, in case of those kinds of structure, if it is formed inside umbrella shape or the mushroom shape, if it is formed, then it is known as laccolith. Okay, now in case inside the earth's surface, again, if a saucer shape of structure, if it is formed inside the earth's surface, saucer shape, then this is known as lapolith igneous rock. Okay, now instead of those kind of shape, if the igneous rocks or the the magma chamber enters the crack which is present in a wave shaped structure like this and solidifies over there, forming the rock, then it is known as pacholith igneous rock. Okay, pacholith igneous rock. Am I clear? Now sometimes what happens is the it will be, the cracks will be extended towards the surface, but it will be very thin. Okay, it will be very thin, and sometimes the cracks will be squeezed in between the two layers of the rocks. okay, or two layers of the sedimentary rocks also we can say. So those kinds of squeezed layer will create a very thin layer or a very thin sheet of the igneous rock present when they cools down. So those kinds of very thin layer of igneous rock is known as sill. Okay, understood. Now the thing is that another one is when the a pointed shape structure of igneous rock, if it is formed like this, then this is termed as dike. Okay, a pointed, the dikes are like, you know, the vertical shape, a pointed shape, a structure few kilometers like in the length, and from you know, from the this, and the thickness will be again very small. Okay, so those kinds of structures, if it is formed, then it is known as dike. Okay, so these are the different types of hypabyssal rocks, which is again further classified on the basis of their shapes. Okay, so students, this was the different types of igneous rocks. So now students, let us move on to the characteristics of igneous rocks. Now since it has been formed from the solidification or the cooling down of magma, then it is very compact, hard and non-porous. Okay, non-porous means it won't allow the water to percolate. Now next is, since it has been formed from the again solidification, the crystals are also formed in the igneous rocks. Okay, now more the depth, greater the depth, bigger size of crystals are formed. Okay, means in the extrusive igneous rocks, the crystals which are formed, they are smaller in size, and in the intrusive igneous rocks, the crystals which are formed, it will be bigger in size. Okay, and greater the depth, more bigger the crystals. Next is, we will not see a definite layering system or the different layers of the sediments or the rocks. Okay, rock layers are not found in the igneous rocks. We don't find any fossils in the in the igneous rocks, because fossils are the dead remains of plants and animal, isn't it? So whatever comes in contact with the igneous or with the fire or molten material, it will be burned down to the ashes. So there is no question of formation of the fossils. Now next characteristics, that the igneous rocks are very rich in minerals. Okay students, so this is the igneous rocks, its characteristics and its classification. So with this we come to the end of the video for today, and the next type of rocks, sedimentary and metamorphic rock, we will keep this topic for the next video. Okay, so thank you for today, and see you in the next video. If you like the video, then please do like it, share it and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe the channel. Thank you everyone.